Hello students, in today's session I will discuss about the report, the types of reports, how to write a report, different formats of report and the components of a formal report and the tips that are followed while writing a report. What is a report and what is the importance of reports? Report is the term used for a group of documents that inform, analyze and recommend. They help in the analysis of a condition, a situation or a problem for an effective solution. Generally, a report is defined as a formal document written for a specific audience to meet a specific need. Reports may vary from one page to many pages. They also vary in form, content, approach and purpose. They may also be presented orally, electronically or in the written form. And the writing of a report is very essential in most of the business organizations, because most of the business decisions and research conclusions are made on the basis of information presented or recommendations made in reports. How many types of reports are there? Is there any criteria for characterizing these reports in those types? Let us see. There are many types of reports. The most important them are informational and analytical reports, routine and special reports, oral and written reports, formal and non-formal reports. And all these types of reports are characterized based on a particular criteria. Let us study in the next topic how these reports are characterized. There are two kinds of reports which are based on the function. The first one is informational reports. This report presents the facts of a case, problem, condition or situation without any analysis, interpretations or recommendations. Here, the function of a writer will be only to collect, compile and organize facts for the readers. For example, conference reports, trip reports, seminar reports, etc. The second type of the report that come under this category is analytical reports. This report presents the data with analysis and interpretations. For example, project reports, feasibility reports, market research reports, etc. Let us discuss another type of reports which is characterized based on the periodicity. You know, most of the organizations like companies, institutions, government departments, etc. depend on these type of reports for various management decisions, and they are none other than the routine reports, and these are prepared on periodic basis, daily, monthly, yearly, and the organizations present the important information through these reports. For example, daily production reports, monthly sales reports, annual reports, etc. The second type of report that comes under this category is special reports. These reports do not contain routine or repetitive information, and they are presented to convey some special information related to a single condition, situation, problem or occasion. For example, inquiry reports, research reports, thesis, dissertations, etc. Now, let us see the next type of reports. These reports are based on the communicative form. The first type which falls under this is an oral reports. An oral report is informal and face-to-face presentations of information. For example, accident reports, sales reports, joining reports, etc. come under oral reports. And the next kind of a report that comes under this is a written reports. Written reports are more conventional than oral reports. You know, most of the business and technical reports use the written mode of presentation because the organizations using these kind of reports need to maintain proper record for future use and reference. The type of reports that come under this are progress reports, project reports, research reports and so on. The next type of reports are based on nature, scope and length. And these are of two types, formal and informal reports. Formal reports. These are the long reports with elaborate description and discussion. For example, annual reports, thesis, project reports, technical reports, etc. The second type of report under this is informal reports. Compared to the formal reports, these reports are shorter and they do not need any elaborate descriptions and discussions. For example, laboratory reports, trip reports, daily production report, etc. Now, let us discuss, is there any single format to write a report or there are many formats to write a report? Generally, there are 4 common formats of report writing. They are printed forms, letter format, memo format and manuscript format. How to write a report in the printed form? Let me give an example to you. Ajit, you might have gone to a conference that was hosted by Jaipur Conference recently. Your principal might have called you and asked you to submit a report on that. So, how would you write? You have to prefer writing a report in printed form. So, what you would do? You can follow the format that is displayed on this slide. The first thing, you have to mention it as the conference report. In the second line, give the title of the conference that you have attended and write down a report on participation in a conference. In the next line, you have to write your office order number and the date on which you are writing this report. Below that, you should write your name and your designation and address. You have to write the name of the conference, the name of the organizer and the venue of the conference and how long it has taken place, that is the duration of the conference. And then you have to mention the names of the sponsors who had contributed in organizing this conference and the number of participating companies, the number of presentations that were recorded in the conference, and the number of the sessions that had taken place. And towards the end, you have to sign and then submit the report. Is it clear how to write a report in the printed form? Okay. Now, let us discuss how a letter format is different from a printed format. In the letter format, the first thing you have to write your school name or the company name and the address of your school or company, and then the date. Everything should be written on the left side of yours. Below the date, you have to write the to address, that is, to whom you are going to submit this report. Below it, you have to write the subject line. Below the subject line, you have to write down to whom you are going to submit this. You can use dear, Mr. or respected. If your principal asks you to write a report, then you can use respected sir, or in any organization, if you are going to submit this report, or to the editor of a newspaper you are going to submit this report, then you can use dear sir or madam. Below this contains the body of the letter, and here the body of the letter also should be written in 3 sections: introduction, body and conclusion. Introduction: who asked you to write this report, for what you are writing this report, that is the purpose of writing this report, and when did you attend that conference, where did you attend that conference, all the details about the conference, including the number of sessions, number of presentations, the names of the sponsors, names of the organizers, etc. And then the conclusion. In the conclusion, you have to sum up all these things, and you can also recommend, saying that these would be the best opportunities for the people who want to enhance their career prospects. And after that comes the complimentary clause, then your signature with designation and name. The third format is a memo format. Let us see how it looks like. Please see the next slide. Generally, these memo formats are used for short reports that are communicated within the organization. First line should state the name of the organization and the address of the organization. Below that, everything on to the left, you should write the date. Below the date, the to address to whom you are going to submit this report, and then your address, that is from address, and below it comes the subject line. For example, you are working for an organization and your boss has sent a report to be circulated among yourselves. He wanted to organize training sessions to improve your English language and communication skills. So, he wanted to convey this to you all. So, what would be the subject line over here? Yes, the subject line may be like this: organizing training sessions for employees to enhance their English language and communication skills. And then the actual report. Why should he organize such kind of training sessions for the employees? What is the necessity that forced him to organize that? How would this affect his organization? And so on and so forth. And then the recommendations. By organizing such kind of training sessions, what you would like to recommend? Did you understand? So, this is a format you can use only when you are trying to convey something within the organization. Let us see the last and the most important format, that is the manuscript format. Generally, the reports we see or find in books, in newspapers, in any other sources as such, they will be very long and they are very formal. They all are in the manuscript format. These reports are divided into sections, subsections, and each with a clear heading. These headings and subheadings are organized in a logical sequence. For example, annual report, research report, report on progress of a research project, etc. Vamshi, you may be asked by your headmaster to submit an annual report. So, how would you write a report? The first thing is you should select the format in which you should write this report, and you have to write this report in the manuscript format. This includes many paragraphs. The first paragraph includes the information about your college and how well it is organizing such kind of occasions in your college and how well it is managing to include the participation of all the students, and the remaining paragraphs will talk about the details of what had taken place in the annual day celebrations. And lastly, conclusion. You have to sum up everything, and here you can also recommend them to introduce some more arenas where you can assess the students' innate abilities, or you can suggest that next time this kind of celebrations can be hosted within the college campus rather than going and organizing them in the function halls, something like that. Generally, a formal report contains many parts. The first and the foremost part is title page. What is a title page? What does it contain? The title page consists of the title of the report, that is, on which topic you are going to write this report, the name of the person who is writing this report, and the name of the person to whom this report is being submitted, and the date. The next component of a formal report is acknowledgements. Acknowledgement, under this you have to thank the people who have helped you in getting the information about a particular situation or condition on which you are going to write a report. Generally, it is a thanksgiving statement. The next component is summary or abstract. The summary of a report generally contains why we are writing a report, why should we write this report, who has requested to write this report, what kind of investigation had gone into this report to find out the details about a situation or condition or a problem, what are the major findings that had been noted and what is concluded, any recommendations in this direction. So, you have to sum up all these details under summary or abstract. The next important component of a formal report is contents page. You can have a look of this contents page on this slide. It is divided into two columns, section and page number. The first one is introduction, literature review, methodology, findings, conclusions, recommendations, appendices, bibliography, list of figures, list of tables if any, along with the page numbers. This is very important to get into a section which we really want to immediately without wasting any time. So, you can open that page and just find out. For example, If you want to know what were the major findings that had been found in this report, then you can directly go to page 7 and then open. Let us discuss each section in detail. The first one is introduction. Under this, you need to give the background details of the report, such as this report has been written because, or it was requested by, and it was requested on, and so on. Then the objectives. What are the objectives of this report? And then the nature and scope of this report. For example, you can start off like this. This report examines, or it does not examine. Why? Because. The second section is literature review. In this literature review, we will gather the information from various sources like reading books, internet sources, etc. And then the third one is methodology. This is also called as method or procedure. That is, while writing a report, what is a method you have followed in gathering the information? The fourth one is the most important part of a formal report, that is findings. What are the findings that you have found? After studying a situation or condition, you will come to a conclusion that you have found something which had caused a problem to this situation or the organization or a school or a company. And then the conclusions. In conclusions, you sum up all the findings, you sum up all the details that you have gathered along with giving the recommendations and the suggestions. Finally, let us discuss what are those steps that are to be taken in writing a report. In order to organize and present an effective report and present the report systematically, we have to follow some strategies. What are those strategies? Let us discuss. The first one, analyze the problem and purpose. You need to think why this problem has occurred and why you should write this report, how this report can help you to find a solution for the problem. Secondly, determine the needs of the audience. The one who is writing this report should understand the needs of the readers or the audience and what they are expecting from this report. You have to gather the relevant information from different sources in order to write this report. You can gather information through primary sources like discussions, interviews, observations, etc., and from secondary sources like journals, magazines, books, dissertations, etc. Next, analyze and organize the information. Once you have gathered the information from all these sources, you have to logically arrange this information in steps. Analysis of information. What do you mean by that? Analysis of information involves evaluating the information that is gathered, comparing the same thing with the new ideas and interpreting the facts and figures for relative importance. And what do you mean by organizing information? Organizing information involves using an appropriate logical pattern to arrange the information in report. Then you can draw an outline, choosing the central idea, main ideas, supporting ideas and developing the details. After this, you are writing the first draft of your report. Here it is important for you to focus on the scope and purpose of the report. You have to use simple and direct language while writing a report. The next step is to review and revise the one you have drafted. This is very essential because it improves the quality of its content and presentation. And the last one is writing the final draft. After making required corrections, you have to draft it finally. Here, you should take care that you use simple, clear, concise, direct and readable sentences. You have to use appropriate words, meaningful paragraphs and appropriate linking devices. Now that we have drafted our final report, I hope you all understood how to write a report. Is it clear? Thank you.